Hey everyone, this is my real look at the LEGO Easter Bunny Hut, little free promotional item that was given away with qualifying purchases from LEGO in the weeks leading up to Easter 2018. And from what I've heard, in some regions and some stores, this was actually sold for a little more than the usual price of a single figure. It's another one of those little boxed sets that comes with just one figure, and the idea is that some folks would want to actually display it with the packaging. So the box has this sleeve over it. I'll just go ahead and remove that now, and then inside of there, that's supposed to be the Easter Bunny Hut that gives the thing its name. So, you know, just a little scene there. It's showing the exterior of a little house, and it looks okay just as a little gift item, but I think most folks will just want to get at the figure itself. I mean, the graphics here are done nicely, but to me, this doesn't have that much interest. I am all about the actual LEGO stuff, which is inside there. It's that figure. So let me actually talk about the accessories first, because they strike me as particularly interesting, perhaps even more interesting than the figure. You get the egg there, which is the Angry Birds style, or the style that was introduced first with the Angry Birds line. And this one actually has a print going all the way around it. Right there you can see the seam where the two ends came together, but that's nice. I like those pieces, and they can attach to a stud. They also have a mini peg hole on the top, and I think that it's a cool shape and it's a useful piece for making various decorations, and it's nice to get our first actual printed one. And then in the other hand here is a paintbrush. We've gotten lots of paintbrushes in the past, but this is the first time it has been set up with the medium azure color for the paint on the tip of the brush, so that matches the color of the print on the egg. Two very cool things. I kind of wish this came with more eggs, though. That would have been even better. If you'd gotten maybe 3, maybe 2 that were just solid in color, perhaps even with colors that we had gotten previously, and then just this one print, I think that would have been perfect. And then the figure itself. So clearly not the Easter Bunny there. Clearly a human being in an Easter Bunny suit that is rather incomplete. They just reused the original Easter, was it the bunny suit guy, I think, from one of the earlier collectible minifigure series. The whole headpiece there, it's also been recolored since, but they just reused that and then created this face with the teeth, the buck teeth there, the rabbit-like teeth, but it still is just clearly a human. Kind of looks like a kid even, and then just put the rest of the suit on. I wish they had gone with a white base color for the head, to be honest with you, and did it up more proper so that it would have really looked more like an actual Easter bunny. Even using this same piece, this same head, add-on piece with the ears on it and all, I think they just could have done something that looks a little bit less awkward than this. The torso is fine. I like the use of the white for the gloves or the paws there, and they've got just a little bit of fur showing through beneath that top part of the suit that is clearly too small. I'm trying to make it look like he's got a fluffy belly going on there, and then it's also too short in the back. And you can see that the print on the back is just maybe a little bit higher than it ought to have been. I don't know if they ever get them lower than that, but if they had made it just a little bit lower, then you would have had a better connection between the white that's printed there, it's supposed to be the start of the fur, and then the white for the hip piece. And it's got the little bunny tail back there. No alternate face for this one. That would have been another option also, I think, that could have worked with this, giving it one more human style face and then one fully made up face to look more like the bunny. Because from the back, this looks pretty cool. This looks like it's going in a good direction. I kind of see the classic Easter bunny, at least what I know of is the classic Easter bunny style here, kind of the humanoid form of a Easter rendering, but then you turn around and you start to see the yellow face, and it just kind of doesn't make sense to me. So I appreciate getting this headpiece again. Appreciate the new setups with the prints and paint applications for the accessories. The torso is fine, but the head just kind of ruins it for me personally. I'm okay with the legs being unprinted, but just the head, and specifically the face, I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. Just doesn't work for me personally. Now, in the United States at least, buying from Lego directly, you needed to make a purchase of at least $35 worth of items to get this as a free gift. And I think that's a pretty low, a very reasonably low threshold. Oftentimes, the threshold is like $50 or even more sometimes to get a free promotional item. Although, granted, this is not a particularly valuable or expensive to produce promotional item. I think this even could have been done as just a poly bag, and they could have just sent out the figure by itself. But I'm okay with this whole grouping of stuff together to create a little scene for a gift. That's kind of cool. But on April Fool's Day, which happened to coincide with Easter in this particular year, Easter Sunday, I uploaded that obvious April Fool's Day joke of a rant video about this. And even the day after, the day after April Fool's Day, when I changed the video title to specifically say, this is an April Fool's Day joke video, and then the day after that, I changed the thumbnail to say the same again. Still, a whole lot of people took it really, 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 really serious and got really, really angry about it, which is very disturbing and honestly pretty disappointing. A lot of folks said stuff that just got them banned because it was really, really bad stuff. But amongst the more normal comments, there was a lot of disappointment over just how this turned out as a promotional item. And I partially agree with a lot of that feedback. I think that this is a pretty weak promotional item. I think it's a pretty weak item. The fact that it's promotional doesn't change that fact. However, it was free to me and free to most people who got it, and I will continue to wholeheartedly reject the notion that Lego somehow tricked us. They forced us to buy $35 worth of stuff to get this. They forced us to pay $35 for this. That's just wrong. That's just completely wrong. If you spent $35 with them, you would have gotten $35 worth of stuff, plus this on the side. Nobody paid $35 for this, and it was a matter of choice anyhow. Nobody needed to buy $35 worth of stuff to get this if they didn't want it. Yeah, they showed very clearly what it looked like, before they had the promotion going and while they had the promotion going. So anybody who didn't like what this looked like could just opt out. So yeah, though I personally think this is kind of weak, I very much like the accessories, but otherwise this is just backing material, has minimal interest to me, and I think that face is wrong. Still, it was free, so yeah, I cannot say anything particularly bad about Lego, that they've done anything evil here giving us a free item. They could have just given us the $35 worth of stuff that we paid for. Instead, they gave us the $35 worth of stuff that we paid for, and this as well. And anybody who didn't want this didn't need to buy any stuff that they didn't want to get it. It's pretty simple and pretty straightforward, and that's my view on it, and I'm sticking with it. So thank you for watching this real review with my real thoughts about this set, and everybody be cool. It's just toys we're dealing with here, and a free one this time at that. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.